good afternoon, and welcome to episode 55 of the Leading IT podcast, hosted by Tom Layden, the CIO at Longview, and me, Josh Rubens, CEO at Empyrean, which was formerly Cloud Solutions Group. If you're new to our podcast, welcome, and if you're a returning listener, thanks for joining us. The purpose of our show, if you're new, is for IT leaders to discover unique and valuable insights into current trends from both sides of the vendor and client paradigm. And we tackle relevant and time-sensitive topics around AI, cloud, cybersecurity, strategy, and leadership, and how to deal with emerging threats and opportunities. Now, this show is becoming our annual special, as we're going to talk about our predictions for 2024. So, welcome, Tom. How you doing?
Yeah, good. Thanks, Josh. Looking forward to predicting the future again.
Yes.
How did we go last year, mate? You looked at it?
Yeah. So let's let's have a very brief, because people don't want to hear about last year. Everyone knows, but I'll give you the top five.
Yep.
ChatGPT will disrupt the tech industry and market in general.
Nailed it.
I think nailed it. AI will receive the most net new investments by the end of 2023.
Nailed it.
Not bad.
Yeah.
People will develop a unified data management architecture, such as data lakes and single data protection platforms. Definitely on the agenda.
Yeah, we're working on it. Yep.
Cloud migration will take a backseat to cost optimization.
Yep.
I thought that was pretty good.
Yep.
Vendors will face increased pressure to adopt stronger security practices. So that was all the those supply chain issues we had, and tight budgets will compel software democratization. There you go. So we're talking about low-code platforms and AI and all that sort of stuff. So not bad.
Not bad. I'll give it 7 out of 10. I reckon, for that one.
Yeah. Okay. Well, it's not bad for crystal balling. For looking into a crystal ball, we can't. It's not too bad. Could be worse. All right.
The same. But do we got any news, Josh? You wanted to
Yeah. There's lots of news. So the big one is that came out the other day was about the M365 Copilot.
Yes.
Yeah. So exciting stuff. So Microsoft removed the 300 user minimum for M365 Copilot. So you can start with one.
Yep.
It's annual subscription only, so you're looking around 560, 570 per user per year. So it's not cheap. Sucks for the organisations who bought the 300.
Yeah. Yeah. Right. Well, anyway, look, I mean, it's a good way to get into it, right? Because everyone's got the itch to scratch. Everyone wants to try it. No trial, as you told me, Josh. There's no trial, but I think hopefully everyone gets one or two to get it going and see what buzz it creates. We're using it, as you know, Josh. It's interesting. I don't think it's for everyone, though. I have to say, I don't think it is. It's not a broad rollout. I think it's useful for people who want to engage with it.
So, what do you say? Do they have to be particularly tech savvy, or what? Where you going with that conversation?
They've got to want to engage with it. I think a lot of people just get on with their work and they don't think about how AI can actually help them do their job. But if they go, oh, you know what, I'm going to try to do this. I'm going to actually do that instead of just banging out another email. I'm going to try to let the Copilot do it. I'm going to actually try it. So it works well with people who are really curious, got an open mind to it, and want to see how it goes. Its initial results can be a bit underwhelming, frankly. It doesn't amaze you've got to use it a few times to get used to it. So it's interesting. So what I'd suggest, use it with a small group, get some feedback, work out where the value is, work out where the real use cases are.
Yeah.
But probably not for everyone, I suspect.
Is it? Are you noticing anything around, age, or does that make a difference, or is it more the type of role? No?
Well, not really. I mean, there's always a bit of that, right? I mean, there's people just stuck in ways. They do the same old thing. They come in at the same time. They do the same job. They go home. It's probably not for those people. It's people who want to. Yeah, probably jobs require a bit more variety, or they're a bit more creativity in their work, or they're more research type people. But if it's just the accounts receivable person who just does this thing day in day out, it's not for everyone. That's okay. That's cool. It doesn't need to be for everyone. But if you're doing a lot of research or different things all the time, I reckon that's where it really helps. But I mean, if you know what you're doing, if you know how to put the email out, then you're just going to do it anyway, right? You're not going to ask HR. You're not going to ask Copilot to help you HR. I see it's a bit of a slip, but you're not going to get to do all your job straight away. So you got a bit of patience with it, I think, to get the value from it. I did notice it's a bit cheesy. Like when it tries to write emails for you, it's like, well, man, just tone it down a bit. It's kind of funny. Are you using it, Josh, at all? What are you saying?
No, I'm going to get one of the other guys. The other guys are using it. I'm going to get one for myself and yeah, see what it's like. I have had customers balk at even the per user cost. So
Oh, it's too expensive for everyone.
yeah, even for one or two users. Yeah, but it's it's a big deal. Microsoft are pushing it pretty hard. The other thing is that they've announced a product called Copilot Pro. So it's confusing. That's not for business. That's for consumers who want to have a more higher end experience. So and the cool thing is it'll go across all your devices. So it will travel across all your devices in context. It will allow you to use it with some of the Office apps. You get the best models, some image creation stuff, the ability to build your own co-pilots. So that's about, I think, about $350 to $400 a year for a person for that one.
Yeah, okay.
But that's not for business. And the other thing is, they've announced the mobile app and the Copilot is now available in the M365 mobile apps as well. So so some interesting. I think it's pretty big, and it's going to grow.
Yep. Oh, for sure. I think it'll find a home in the business space.
Yeah.
I've got some news. So, speaking of Microsoft, did you read about their email hack recently?
I did hear about it. Yeah.
So they there was a hack. They Russian hacker, Russian state-led team hacked into Microsoft senior leadership team. Looks like they got into they got access to all the emails, but they got in via a legacy test platform. Once again, using a test platform or a legacy test system, using a password spraying approach, legacy test accounts, blah blah blah. Just goes to show you that everyone's got weaknesses and vulnerabilities, right, Josh?
Even Microsoft.
Even the big boys.
So yeah, it's huge.
Yeah. So I mean,
it's never ending.
But just goes to it. Yeah, everyone. I guess they limited the damage. Just what they're saying. It's like, oh, we just limited it, but it's like, mate, you're selling security platforms. You're not allowed to get hacked. You're not allowed to do that.
I know, but they all do. Everyone gets it. So yeah, it's difficult. It's difficult. I don't know if you saw, but the Australia has announced personal sanctions on a gentleman called Alexander Umakov. Did you hear about this?
No.
So he's the guy who was responsible for the Medibank for the Medibank hack.
Yes.
So it's personal sanctions, so financial sanctions and travel bans. So it's the first time the government's ever put sanctions on an individual.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
Because it was the worst attack in Australian history, where all those Medicare numbers and medical information was posted on the dark web by this guy. And if you see a picture of him, he just looks like a
small kid, like a
handsome dude with blonde hair, sitting in his office with a nice business shirt, clean cut.
Yeah,
doesn't look like a criminal.
Yeah.
So maybe is that the future? They're now they're going to target these guys individually.
Well, you could do something, right? I mean, I'm not sure how effective that will be. Well, I'm sure it won't stop stuff, but you've got to try everything. You've got to throw everything at these people, right? You've got to sort of create some sort of deterrent. Otherwise, it's a free for all.
Yeah, he may well be sitting in Moscow laughing. I don't want to go to Australia anyway, so I don't care. But
he's lost.
So who knows?
And then the other one I had was
sorry.
Well, it was his loss. His loss, my friend. The other one I had was
correct.
The other one I had was the CES. I don't know if you've been looking at the Consumer Electronics Show this year. It's probably one of the best ones I've seen.
No.
It's probably definitely one of the best ones I've seen for ages. So finally, it got really boring for a while. Now it's interesting again because, well, guess what? AI. They put AI in pretty much anything. Anything with a pulse has now got AI in it. And TVs, like transparent TVs, look pretty awesome. You can't buy them yet, but they're showing these like glass that turns into TV. That was unreal. Home robots that look like they might actually be useful in the near future. Not quite now, but there's little robots running around and doing stuff. And then the other one is this Rabbit R1, which is like a little device, like a mobile phone device, but it does stuff for you. So say, hey, look, can I get some pizza, please? And it'll go. It uses AI and blah blah blah, but it actually goes and gets the pizza and orders it for you and gets it to your door and takes your money and lots of stuff. So it's this AI driven app that's what they call it's an large action model. So instead of just giving you information, it actually goes, mate, I've got it, I've sorted it out. Here's the pizza's coming, don't worry about it. Give me an Uber, and it does it for you. So their big deal is that they're going to replace all the apps, and you just speak to it, and it knows what to do.
Wow, I that is one of the predictions I saw was these autonomous agents, which is essentially what you're saying. It's an agent that basically does stuff for you using AI, like it'll. That's pretty interesting.
Yeah. So Rabbit R1.
All right, cool. Do you want to get into some predictions, Tom? Do you want to start? Do you want me to start?
Yeah, definitely. There you go for it. Fire away, mate.
So we'll start easy. So most organisations are going to trial M365 Copilot, and there's going to be a lot of work done around preparation for AI. So I think that's going to be a big thing. There's been a lot of laws, regulations have been released. The EU has done one. The UK has done one. The US will get there. So everyone's going to be preparing for AI. So I think there's going to be a lot of that, a lot of AI readiness assessments. Tom, I predict you're going to get spammed with AI readiness assessments. In fact, I'm sure I've sent you one.
So your point about being ready is that you've got to make sure your data is secure. Otherwise, if you turn these things on, it starts to expose information that you perhaps thought shouldn't be exposed. It's one of the big risks, right?
Yeah, exactly. So things like M365 Copilot and can connect to systems of record in your organisation. So if they will honour, as Microsoft keeps saying, your in-place security posture. But if your in-place security posture is correct, is not not done correctly, you people are going to be able to see things that they wouldn't normally be able to see. So that's one of them, and the other one's more from a compliance perspective, where you're going to have to, particularly if you're in financial services or local government, where you're going to have to comply with different checklists and policies in place to be able to use AI. So I know the local, the Victorian government released a whole, a massive list of things to all the local government agencies and health agencies in Victoria for things they have to do before they use it. So I think it's going to be big. There's going to be a lot of AI readiness work done
for sure
this year. What do you think about that?
Well, the risks are real around exposing data. If you just turn these things on, you can start to ask questions like, "How much does my co-worker actually get paid?" And it might go, "Oh, he gets paid this amount. Is that what you wanted?" It's like, yeah, you should know that information. Or where does this guy live? What's his personal address, right? So you can be really mindful about the personal and sensitive data that this thing will access because it can, right? And it won't necessarily understand that sensitivity around it.
Yeah, and that sort of ties into one of my other predictions is around, which we've discussed on a previous podcast, is around the new privacy legislation in Australia that's going to drive spend, particularly around data governance and data loss prevention. But AI, it can be a big part of actually breaking that. So if you don't have your the correct things in place, like purview and all your policies, and know where your data is, could cause a lot of issues for you.
Yeah, definitely, absolutely.
So that was my first. We got two in one.
Your first one's really good, and I think I think that sort of goes into one that I've been talking about a lot, is that people start to really work through how AI enables their business. So speaking about just turning it on to enable boring corporate, but really the real value I think people go is like, how do I AI or supercharge my business, as opposed to how do I just make administration tasks better? So how does AI build into my business model? And that's where I think a lot more fun will be had. So how can I generate more revenue How can I make new markets available through AI? How can I grow the
Mm,
business through AI?
mm,
That's hopefully going to be the focus of the CEO world, and therefore the IT world, right? So I've got a sense that CEOs they've played with it, they got it, they're over the gimmick. Now they're going, shit, how does our business grow with AI? And that is far more interesting than just going, right, well, we want to expose some documents. And to make, I think every IT guy's got to be ready for that conversation, right, Josh? They've got to, and they've got to work out what have we got in IT that's going to make AI special for us? And that speaks to a few things. It speaks to having your
mm.
data ready to go, your IP and data in a spot where you actually extract value from it. So I think it's going to be a big race around harnessing AI and getting your data behind that into a spot where it actually adds value.
Yeah, yeah. So you don't want to be in the way of progress where, oh, we can't do that because we haven't got our, governance
Nah,
set up correctly or our security policies.
you
So
also
wait 6 months while we catch up.
also you've got to know what your secret sauce is. You've got to know what you do that's better than everyone else, and then get AI to move forward with that one, right? So otherwise, you're going to get lost in the race pretty quickly.
That does tie in. So one of my next one was that Gen AI is going to move from proof of concept into enterprise
Big
this
time.
year. And there was an EY CEO Outlook Pulse late last year that said 99% of CEOs are planning to invest in AI this year.
Yeah, right. There you go. That's it.
So so the business, every business is going to be coming to IT saying, right, let's get going. And if IT doesn't do it, they're just going to do it themselves.
Yeah,
It's going to be the old shadow IT.
yeah. Or worst
Yeah,
case scenario,
yeah.
you
So
have
that's the
you have an IT department and you have an AI department as a separate organisation. Like that'll be a disaster, right?
that'll be that's not going to work. So keeping my next few are about AI. So I'll apologise up front. A lot of these are around AI because that's where a lot of the action is. So there's going to be, I think, growth this year in something called an SLM. So there's the large language models like
Yep.
ChatGPT, and SLM is a small language models. So there's going to be growth in SLMs and industry-specific models. So the only difference is they're trained on smaller and more focused data sets. So it's focused on more high-quality data like journals, websites, authoritative content,
Yes.
which means you don't need as much storage, as much memory. You can run it on a local computer. So I think there's going to be a lot more use cases that are going to sort a lot of businesses around doing things that are specific to their business, where they can run locally if they want. They can run it in the cloud. So we think this is going to be pretty big. The two most promising SLMs are Microsoft's Phi 2
Mm.
and Mistral 7B. So they think that's going to be the next thing. So I think these SLMs, things on mobile devices, which even we mentioned before, that the M365 Copilot, things that you can download and use on your local device to help you with your job, without having to have massive infrastructure costs to run an LLM.
Yeah. Yep. Nice.
So yeah, what do you think?
Yeah, it's good. I think what can you do to use those to incorporate what's special about your business, right? So instead of having a general one, you've got a specific one. Well, that's where your
Yeah.
IP is. And then I'll go into mine one, right? We're getting about AI, but I think AI is going to be used massively this year for IT operations. I reckon a lot of people are going to start to work
Mm.
out how to make IT run really, really efficiently with AI behind the scenes. So what used to be an army of 5 IT administrators, maybe that's 1 or 2 now. Maybe those IT administrators become really, really efficient at working out and getting all those various systems you've got behind the scenes to work seamlessly. So AI becomes your knowledge
Yeah.
and you can just get stuff done. It can produce the code for you. It helps you automate and it removes that. Like a lot of these IT administrators live on the knowledge that they've got in their head. Like they're the smartest guy in the room.
Yeah.
Mate, that's changed. That's not the case anymore.
Yeah.
So IT operations, you can really look at that closely and perhaps retrain and redirect some of those resources into the AI space, right, and get them back in front of the business.
Yeah. I mean that we are. Yeah, that was my next two. So we're definitely, aligned in our long planning meetings, Tom, that we have have for these. But Yeah, so AI ops are definitely, and I also mentioned around cyber resilience. So, the criminals are using AI to attack, so we need to use AI. And all the big vendors, as we've spoken on previous episodes, Microsoft and all the other vendors are baking AI into their solutions, whether it's Palo Alto, VMware. So now, the ability to, be more secure using AI. But yeah, definitely automating different tasks and using AI to make that a lot easier than having to code. And the other one is around coding. So coding, democratizing coding, even more complex coding, not just low code using AI as well. So yeah, that's going to be interesting. So you said you think there's a lot of scared developers out there.
Not developers. I think developers need to they kind of move up the value chain a bit. So the programmers who just sit there churning out code become software engineers and architects because the coding becomes a lot quicker, faster, and better. The quality of the coding gets a lot better. But you still need humans to design the app, right? You still need the engineering part. But the AI is not very good at that pace. It's great at chunking out code, but someone needs to create the overall solution. So I don't think anyone's nervous about it. I think grads become far more effective, though. Frankly, they go up the value chain really quickly.
Yeah.
I think the other point about security is really good.
Yeah.
About security. The threats just get better and better. And I think what we're going to look at this year is far more sophisticated social engineering issues. So not just email phishing, but voice and video phishing as well, where people look like your boss, look like the CFO, call you up, say, hey, I'm stuck in Bangkok and I need you to transfer 10 grand. It's like, oh, okay, let me just call you. Oh, hang on, I'm already talking to you. Like you start off as an SMS and then they say, right, okay, you got to phone him. Well, now you phone him and it sounds like him or her. Oh, okay, no worries. So that's just like a little example, but those social engineering programs are going to get pretty scary, I reckon.
Yeah, the deep fake videos. Yeah, that's going to be full on.
I think so. Now that everyone's got the basics in place, and it's just a little bit harder for the average hacker to get the admin passwords for your router. So they'll look at. I think humans are still the weakest link, right? You can't really change humans that much. I've tried. You can't. I promise you. So I think the hackers are going to really look at human vulnerabilities, right, as where they need to get into next.
Yeah. So what's that? More training. You have to be constantly training users.
Constantly.
And I think that goes into my next point. I think the zero trust is going to come back. It was around a few years ago with hybrid work, but I think this year, I think it's really going to be on the table. And talking to a number of customers, but I can really see people are going to want that zero trust model. And now you can make it a bit easier for people. So if you're using things like conditional access, so if you're logging in on your device, you're in the office, you might not have to authenticate 5 times. But if you're coming in from somewhere else, and that constant checking, so using AI to constantly check to make sure that the authentication is proper. Yeah, I think that's going to be back on the table this year. A few years ago, it was a big buzzword, but I think this year, zero trust is going to be a big thing.
Yeah, that's right. And I think that's what you need to isolate attacks, right? So if you live in a world where, you're going to be attacked, then your job becomes, how do I minimize my risk? How do I minimize the actual blast volume of any attack? I think you're spot on, zero trust. And zero trust should be a little bit easier than it was a few years ago to implement, right? It should be a bit easier now.
Yeah, it's still hard because it's an architecture. It's not one product, but certainly, I'm going to talk about Microsoft has the most comprehensive, but others like CrowdStrike and there are others that can help you with it. But I think that's going to be a big one this year from a strategic point of view. A lot of people I'm talking to and hearing is that is that zero trust is back on the agenda this year. All right, do you want to go next?
Yep. One a bit more techie. Wi-Fi 7. I think it looks like it's pretty good. So the speeds people are getting but it looks like it's real. I think it's going to be a big rollout this year. Wi-Fi 7 across corporates. I think it could be the end of cabled networks, maybe, hopefully. But it looks really good. Wi-Fi 7. I think it's going to be big this year.
Yep. And the other one that I think this year is on-prem file servers are dead. They're going to be dead. They're going to die.
Right.
Everyone's migrating everything to SharePoint
Right.
and similar platforms because 2012 into support. So people are thinking, well, I can either do a big upgrade or I can just migrate it into SharePoint, and I'm going to get search and I'm going to get governance, and it's going to be good for my AI with Copilot, and now Microsoft has archiving and backup and things like that in there. So the cost is better, and all those sorts of things are there. So yeah, I think, and I'm already seeing
Yep.
that's a big one for people. They want to really get on top of their data and to be able for them to use it. So things like knowledge management,
Yep.
doing things in teams, for collaboration, SharePoint for long-term storage, and sharing data across the business, and OneDrive, and really looking at how they can improve collaboration, rather than sort of the old school file server.
Yep. So the end of the P drive or the whatever finance drive. Is what you're saying? No.
Yes, yes, yeah. Well, finance might be last, but yeah, seeing that everywhere already, and I think it's going to continue, and Microsoft's continuing to make it more and more attractive to do that.
Yeah, I mean, I'm still amazed by the fact people still don't understand how do you work on a document collaboratively. They still email the document around 1,000 times. I don't like, despite the fact that it says share, you
Yeah,
can work on it together. You can do this stuff now. It's like, oh no, we don't do that. We email a document and then someone else merges the document and they upload it. And just get with the future, people.
yeah. I mean, unless you're doing things like, I mean, it's not useful for large videos
Yeah,
or CAD cam or that sort of stuff, or genomic sequencing, or that sort of big
yeah.
data. I'm talking about normal
Office
business
files.
documents that sit on office files. They should be up in a platform like SharePoint.
Yep.
If you don't like SharePoint, choose your poison. But I think a lot of companies are going to move because it just brings so many benefits. Yeah, there's not many downsides to it, I don't think.
Not anymore. Not anymore. And then I guess my final one, Josh, and I'm going to say this until it actually happens. Quantum computing. I've got a good feeling about it this year.
Yeah.
It's going to be the year of quantum
Yes. Yeah.
computing. It's going
Yes.
to be available. They're already talking about hackers
Yes.
getting into and
Yeah.
using it to drive, password attacks or whatever, and being ready for the quantum threats that will drive. Yeah, how does the average person access quantum computing? I'm not sure yet. I'm not sure, but when it comes, we'll know.
Well, the market leading vendor is IBM, so I don't think even small to medium enterprises can. I think they see it as the next mainframe where they can charge people millions of dollars for hardware, software, and services. But yeah, there was a fair bit of that out there in the in the zeitgeist about quantum. I did leave that one for you because I'm still not there, and I don't think it's 2024, maybe 2029. But
Well,
all right, I've got a few more, and
yeah,
you can throw rocks at me as well. So drones, the convergence of drones, IoT, and 5G is going to really open lots of new opportunities. Um, around smart cities, monitoring, building, construction. I mean, it is already out there, but I think it's going to continue to grow. I think
yeah,
that there's going to be more
I think so.
interesting use cases
I
there.
think so. And like the health and safety space, I think drones are going to become really big. Where drones are either video
Yeah.
monitoring or actually starting to do some of that more riskier work. I think it's just going to get just more and more accepted into the corporate world.
Yeah, I mean, obviously in combat,
Huge.
it's already there, but yeah, more into the into the corporate world. On a different note, I think there's going to be a rise in women in IT leadership roles and corporate boards in 2024.
Yeah, it's a really good point.
So I don't think it's just around diversity and equality. There's definitely seems to be a lot more interest from females in leadership,
Yep.
in IT leadership. So it's great. It's good to see that diversity
Yep.
in business is great. You get different ideas.
Yep.
So yeah, I'm definitely seeing that and feeling that, and and I think that's a really good thing. Another one is that if there's been some organisations, using the fact that they don't use AI as a selling point. So it's the AI rise will increase demand for the human touch.
Yes.
So people saying, well, we don't use AI because, you don't want to have AI reviewing AI content. We're going to get there, Tom, at some point. So
Sure. Yeah.
that could be something. So I think we might be seeing companies saying, well, we don't use AI. It's all we're human beings.
Yeah. I mean, you already know when you're talking right, that you're talking to an AI straight away. It's like, can I speak to a human, please? Love of God, it's like,
yes.
Have I not answered your?
Yeah. Hopefully they'll, over time they'll probably become less, less blunt and more engaging. But at this point, it's not much fun. All right, and then the last one is the emergence of multimodal AI models. So I think there's going to be a lot more models which allow you to do more than just text at the same time. So you can be a mix of text, audio, video. So whether it's GPT-4, Llama 2, Mistral, they're making, big strides. So I think there's going to be a lot of growth in multimodal AI. So that's mine. That's what I have. What do you reckon? You think we're going to be as accurate as we were last year?
Well, I mean, it's AI and security, right? That's it's what we said last year. It's more of the same for this year. But I think we're going to be more sophisticated and more pointed with AI. AI is going to, people who work AI out will start winning in the business, right? People who get AI to make their business go faster will be rewarded through, stock value or more revenue, or whatever it is. But it's all going to be the year of more AI.
Well, maybe AI, gets down to business rather than everyone talking about it like they have this year, and definitely AI readiness, as we've said. Yeah. It's going to be the big thing this year. All right, I think that's good, Tom. One little announcement from us. So we were invited over the weekend to the new Broadcom VMware Partner Program, which is great. So lots of, as we've discussed, a lot of news about Broadcom and a lot of concern around what's going to happen to VMware partners, and a lot of our clients are on VMware and work with us on it, so they can relax knowing they can continue to work with us on that. So that was the main thing. Any last bits from you, Tom?
No, it should be a good year for our podcast too, Josh. I think it will continue the form of hopefully get some really good guests on, continue to talk about these topics. But I guess the practical implications of what we've been talking about will focus on throughout the year, right, Josh?
Yeah, I'm really excited for this year. We've got some great guests lined up, and looking forward to another great year together with you, Tom, and with all our listeners.
Likewise.
Oh, once again, thank you everyone for listening. If you want to reach out, you can get to me on jrubens at empyreanit, empyreanit.com.au. Otherwise, thanks for listening.
Thank you.